And who do I see but Mr. Alligator? I'm your host, Stu Donald. Let's head to the Delta.
Hey y'all, Stu here. I'm back doing a little fishing. I finally got a little time. I'm exploring a creek that I have been driving over for weeks now when leaving the restaurant and heading home. It's Eslava Creek, and I keep driving over it, going down Cottage Hill Road, and I keep thinking, I wonder if there's anything in there. So I grabbed a couple of ultralight things and got my backpack, and we're going to explore. Come on, let's go.
In a previous episode, linked down below, we took a look at the area known as Rag Swamp. Well, Eslava Creek is how Rag Swamp used to drain into Mobile Bay. And when they drained the swamp, they fortified the creek and they made it part of the urban sprawl. There have been concerted efforts the last 5-6 years to clean Eslava Creek up, because all of the trash in the parking lots from the shopping malls that they built back in the 50s and 60s has just been flowing into this little creek. So they really got together with groups like Mobile Bay Keepers to try and clean Eslava Creek up. Now, as you come down here, it's crystal clear, and that wasn't the case a few years ago. It was always kind of murky and seedy. Job well done, y'all. Oh man, y'all check this out.
How cool is this? Pitch hitting for Manny Moza.
The neighborhood that we're in is probably the oldest of the suburbs, although we're in the heart of the city where we are now. But back in the post-war days, after World War II, this was the first place that Mobile started growing to the west. And it now continues almost to the Mississippi state line, and most people consider this Midtown. But at one time, this was the far western edge of the city of Mobile. When I say that we are exploring Eslava Creek today, I absolutely mean exploring. I had driven over the bridge a few times, and I even looked at it on Google Maps, but I was not prepared for what I found today. There was a lot of growth around this creek, weeds of every kind, and of course, not just stickers, briars, but thorns. I swear those are where we got the idea for barbed wire from. But on top of all of the foliage that I had to tromp through and bushwhack through, I even had a boulder scramble. Who expected that on the Gulf Coast? The entire hike has been really tough. And as I look back on it now, a whole lot of fun. As the radius city in America, Mobile depends on its creeks and rivers to drain the storm water into Mobile Bay. Eslava Creek is perhaps the most trashed and neglected of these creeks because it winds through some of the most densely populated areas of the city and kind of serves as a catch-all for litter that has been dumped by nearby businesses and cars zipping up and down the road or tenants who live in the apartment complexes all around the neighborhood. Remember that rock scramble I told you about? This ought to be fun. As hard as this is going down, it ought to be a real pleasure going back up. Well, as precarious as that was, I certainly hope it proves fruitful.
Look at that.
Coming at all.
As you may have figured out by now, I love stupid little rods and reel combos. I had a hankering. I saw this one. This is a packet. This is another backpacking combo by Eagle Claw. And we'll give it a little spin today on Eslava and see if we can't do something with it.
The line that came pre-spooled on this reel has a ridiculous amount of memory in it. It is curling up really bad. You'll see. Well, that's going to do it from Eslava Creek today. Eagle Claw, you should be ashamed of yourselves. The line on this reel is probably 10 years old. The reel was just made in the last year or so. That is unexcusable. Well, I don't know what that was, maybe a dozen casts before the line that came pre-spooled on it made it completely unusable. But this old boy did its trick. 2 bass, a little sunfish. We got a whole lot more of Eslava Creek and the Delta to explore. So, till next time, I'll see you on the Delta. We're here by Interstate 65 at a restaurant. World famous Dreamland BBQ. This is the Mobile establishment. They started in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Here's what I really wanted to show you. See this little drainage ditch right here next to Dreamland? That is the beginning of Eslava Creek, which we visited last week. Link down below. Well, this is where it starts, right here. And fixing to show you another little stop on Eslava Creek, and I think you're going to be a little surprised how the creek looks there. More on Dreamland BBQ later. Love the Spanish moss in the oak trees. Mobile used to be famous for that. In '79, a little storm named Hurricane Frederick came and robbed us of most of that Spanish moss. As you can see, we still got some. And I tell you, it is a beautiful day out here. And this little parking spot, currently I have it all to myself, which is a cool thing because I ain't gonna lie, this neighborhood's a little on the sketchy side. Not horrible, but close enough to some horrible to make you want to keep your head on a swivel. Oh, here we are at the creek. I don't know how much I'm going to be able to fish. I'm going to fish this for sure. Well, it doesn't seem like anything's wanting to hit near the top of the water. I've heard professional bass fishermen say spend 10 casts in a spot. And if you don't get anything, either change spots or change lures. I don't have a whole lot of options in spots, so I guess I'll change lures. How about the good old tried and true rooster tail? Let's see if this produces anything, shall we? Change spots. Oh, this is tearing me up. See this little brook that runs into Eslava Creek?
see fish in it. But I'm struggling to be able to cast anywhere near them where I don't scare them. So we'll keep on trying. Okay, let's ease up here and see if I can finally get to this water here. Try not to startle anything. This fish. I don't know if he shows up here on the camera or not. There's a nice sized little sunfish right there. Let's see what we can do here. Here's some fishy, 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 fishy. Okay, let's ease up here and see if I can finally get to this water here. Try not to startle anything. Let's fish. Well, trying to make my way down to another part of the creek. Having a little trouble with my sports camera. Keep saying I'm out of space, but I'm on Earth. I don't think he knows what he's talking about. Made it. If you know anybody that needs a frame for an air conditioner, I found one. Now look how beautiful this creek is compared to that ditch when we first started. And like I say, there's still a good deal of litter in here. Man, it used to be so much worse. Mobile Baykeepers, all the organizations really have done a beautiful job of helping clean this creek up. Now this creek doesn't actually feed into the Mobile-Tensas Delta. It is part of the Dog River watershed. The Dog River empties into the bay, I don't know, 10 miles or so south of the Delta, but still ends up in Mobile Bay. Let's cast. All right, I want to point out this one plant here. These big leaves there that are kind of arrowhead shaped. This is called arrowhead. Neat, huh? And it's got another name, duck potato, because the root system, which grows underwater, has tiny little tubers on it that are basically little potatoes. And the reason that they call it duck potato is that ducks will swim up and eat the taters. Humans can eat them too, so I'm going to try and get my hands on some and make some duck potatoes one night. Constant reminder that we are in the heart of the city. Goldenrods in the south mean one thing: autumn is here.
world famous Dreamland BBQ. I don't know what to tell you. It's a barbecue place. The menu's pretty simple. But you know, in a Mexican restaurant, you sit down and they bring you chips and salsa. Well, at Dreamland, white bread and barbecue sauce. I love Dreamland sauce. It's not very sweet. It's very vinegary, which I love. The rib tip sandwich that I ordered, though, does come with a sweeter sauce, so I'm anxious to try that, see what their take on the sweet sauce is. This has always been one of my favorite sauces. In episodes before, I have well established I love barbecue pork sandwiches. And I live in a state that does great barbecue. This is my first time trying this rib tip sandwich here in Dreamland, but from the looks of it, I'm going to be a happy fellow. When Big Daddy first started the original Dreamland, which is in Northport, Alabama, it's right across the river from Tuscaloosa, not far from the University of Alabama Stadium, in fact. His menu had ribs and white bread. That was it, because it's a barbecue joint. It's really all you should sell. But when he expanded into the larger markets, the larger cities, Birmingham and Mobile particularly, people, Yankees, wanted sides, and they wanted chicken. Well, he gave that to them. So the menu is more expensive now. They have your basic sides, your baked beans, your potato salad, French fries, fried okra, and you know what you would expect at a barbecue place. I do appreciate the simplicity of what Big Daddy did in the beginning. I got ribs, I got bread, and I got barbecue sauce. What more do you need?
Everything come out right, my darling.
Fantastic.
That's what I like to hear.
I love potato salad too. Oh wow, that's really good. Hey, part 3 of exploring Eslava Creek, and this is probably the most important part. We're where Eslava Creek goes under McVeigh Drive. Just over there, Eslava turns into Dog River. Right behind me is a litter filtration system, and it collects a lot, not all, but a lot of the styrofoam, the paper, and crud that's just floating in Eslava Creek. On its way to Dog River, where it then empties into Mobile Bay, where it then empties into the Gulf of Mexico. So I'm really excited today to show you this spot on Eslava Creek, and I brought my gear. I'm going to try and wet a line as well. All right, I am very excited to show you this. Down here on Eslava Creek, right under McVeigh Drive. Just the other side of that bridge, the Eslava Creek turns into Dog River. And it's very important that we keep this creek clean because of that. Dog River is a great fishing source, camping. There's a lot of beautiful homes on Dog River. And Eslava Creek has been funneling garbage into it for decades. But it doesn't anymore thanks to this. This is a trash removal system. I mean, this is spectacular. Out across that way, you got the pontoons floating on top of the water. Now there's a gap in there. I'll try and get around on an angle and show you in a second, so that canoes and kayaks and what boaters might want to come up this far can get through. But it still directs most of the water right through this contraption. And as you can see, it is full of crud. It is doing its job. That's what that means. That should be full of crud, and it's got crud. And all these cages and stuff, they filter out the garb, and it comes out here, much cleaner water, on down into Dog River. Then it dumps off into Mobile Bay, and from there into the Gulf of Mexico. Everything's connected, y'all. Now here's a really good view of the crud and the filth. Now, we have had very low rainfall for our part of the country for about 2.5 months now. And that's why this really isn't too bad. There are clips that you can find on the YouTube that show this thing just completely jacked all the way up the creek that way with garbage after floodwaters, to the point that this whole stream gets blocked off with garbage. And thanks to things like this and efforts by various organizations, we don't have that problem nearly as much anymore. And that's a good thing. As you look up that way, that's Eslava Creek. And if you keep going that way, you'll get back to Fry Park that we went to last week. Keep going, you'll end up under Cottage Hill Road like we were at 2 weeks ago. Go far enough, you'll end up at Dreamland BBQ. It flows down here. As you can see, this is a much wider, and I can attest, much deeper creek than it was the other spots we've been to. But once it crosses under the bridge here, it starts to become Dog River.
Bluegill, I think. Looked like a bluegill.
Eslava Creek Sessions is a non-profit organization that is helping to keep Mobile's waterways beautiful and litter-free. And they have partnered with organizations like Osprey Initiative, Dog River Clearwater Revival, and Keep Mobile Beautiful to work year-round in order to keep Eslava Creek beautiful. Not one of my better decisions here. I know it looks like this is level ground, but you see piles of leaves next to the rocks, and sometimes those piles are an inch or so deep, and sometimes they're a foot or more, and there's no way to tell until you step there. The city of Mobile installed this nearly $500,000 litter trap to help fix the pollution problem here on Eslava Creek. Just months after its installation, the litter trap had already captured more than 457 cubic yards of litter. That's 457 yards of litter that's no longer in the creek, which is a huge improvement. 7 years later, and one can only speculate how much trash has been removed thanks to this one trap.
Well, you know, 3-4 casts in, I had that nice bluegill hit, and I thought, this could be a pretty good day. But nature has a way of humbling man, and I didn't get hardly any other strikes. In fact, I got one more right before I quit fishing. My lure was this big, the fish was that big. No way it was going on the hook, but he tried anyway. I've had a lot of fun showing you Eslava Creek. from its beginnings up by Dreamland BBQ down through the Midtown area. Here we are just about to Dog River. And in the final part, part 4, we're actually going to visit Dog River and let you see what Eslava Creek turns into. And part of why it's so important to keep this creek as clean as possible. Until next time, I'll see you on the Delta.
After taking a week off for our traditional Halloween episode, we now conclude exploring Eslava Creek. Today, we conclude our 4-week trip down Eslava Creek by coming to the place that all of this work has been about, Dog River. And we're going to take a little tour here around Dog River Park so you can see the rewards of all of that hard work. When I was about 5 years old, I visited what was then called Navco Park for the first time ever. And quite honestly, the second time you're watching right now. But I remember thinking, what a magical place to have that in your neighborhood, that you could just leave your house, hop on your bicycle, and ride to a place like this. It's great to be back here again and to see how much better it is than it was even in my childhood memories.
Dog River Park was created when they combined 2 existing parks. Navco Park, which was mostly a sports park, ballparks, swing sets, stuff like that for the kids, and Lusher Park, which was more the boat ramp area. They combined them into one park, Dog River Park, and made a bunch of upgrades to all of them. And it's a great park down here. There's lots of families. This is a Monday afternoon, and there's a mother and her kids carving their Halloween pumpkins over on one table. There's a dad and a couple of kids playing on the swing sets, and people just took a boat out. And it's really a great little park here that is the result, again, of all the cleanup and all the efforts that went into making Eslava Creek a natural body of water.
Well, since it's been about a half century since my last visit to Dog River Park, why don't we take a little stroll around and see what it has to offer? I certainly don't remember there being any boat launches back then. What other surprises might be lying in wait?
Check out this beautiful area. Nice little marina here. You can launch several boats at the time. Across the way there, you can see some of the homes with their piers and their dry docks and everything that are on this river. Come on over this way. So a nice little part in the river here. And as you can see, this is really beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. We've got a little bit of fall colors kicking in. Plenty of seagulls. And there's a few people out here enjoying this beautiful park. And this beautiful park exists because of all the efforts of the organizations that help clean up Eslava Creek.
looking down that way there, that will take you to Eslava Creek. Right around the corner there is Eslava Creek, pretty much where we were last week under McVeigh Drive. And it comes, empties in with another tributary right up there, and now you broaden out and you've got Dog River. And then this heads on down this way. As you can see, you go on around a bend there, and that's going to take you down to Mobile Bay. And there's probably a few miles left before you get to where it opens up into Mobile Bay, and it will join forces with Rabbit Creek and Halls Mill Creek. And there, at that point, the river gets much wider, much deeper, much busier, and even more beautiful. Then you go under a bridge, and there you are in the middle of Mobile Bay. Going around that bend is Mobile Bay. Quack, quack, little buddy. Ain't that pretty? As you can see, we have encountered some wildlife. I'm going to try and make contact, see if we can't communicate, maybe start a rapport. Stay with me here. Perhaps he's deaf. Perhaps my duck call has gotten a little rusty. He ain't paying me any attention, y'all. And that's dangerous, because that's how you end up duck all the wrongs. I do not think this is ideal. This would be a good time to pause and read. As we can see here, there's a nice little bandstand right on the water. I forget they would rent you this to have a wedding. Be a nice backdrop with them. Or come on out to the little pier here. Okay. The view out here on the little pier. There's so many birds out here. There's another boat. I mean, so many gulls out here. It's really been something. But, you know, as beautiful as this little park is, it would really seem silly to come out here and not try and go fishing, right? I mean, he's doing it. I'm pretty sure this little canal wasn't here 50 years ago.
You know what that little shape there is? That is a blue crab. We are close enough to the bay that we also have saltwater species in this water. I just want y'all to check out this perfect little spot here. This is a little canal off of Dog River that circles the backside of the park. And I don't know what purpose it serves other than to be just absolutely perfect. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this exploration of Eslava Creek the past few weeks. We went from where it's just a ditch next to Dreamland BBQ all the way down under Cottage Hill Road, under McVeigh, until we got here to Dog River Park, and Eslava Creek becomes this beautiful river that I've been showing you today.
I've mentioned a few of the organizations that have helped clean up Eslava Creek, but I want to take this moment to acknowledge them all. Well, it's Easter Sunday, and I'm going to start today's adventure at McGowan Park, one of the newer shopping centers in the area. And when they build these new shopping centers or any kind of large building complex where they have a large pour of asphalt, they now build into them stormwater retention ponds with the intent of helping control flooding during, periods of high rain, and control the pollution that parking lots tend to collect. Well, we're going to start at these ponds here in McGowan Park. We're going to make our way down the creek to the river and out to Mobile Bay. And of course, we'll be fishing all along the way.
There we go. First fish. There we go, fella.
All right, first fish. See some little bass moving out through there. And I can see little bass, but they just don't seem interested. And when I say little, I mean little, like 5 or 6 inches. Ponds, retention ponds, that is, in this shopping complex here, all eventually flow in to this little man-made creek, and they go right up under that bridge and they empty into Eslava Creek. We did a whole series on Eslava Creek back in the fall, links down below, and it's a creek that has been really assaulted by litter because of all these shopping centers that are on it. So now that you see where the garbage comes from, I'm going to take you to the other end where it's much cleaner because of all the efforts that the city has made to clean it up, Mobile area waterworks and stuff. And I'm going to do a little fishing on the other end of all this.
Now this is one of the litter containment traps that are here on Eslava Creek, and as you can see out there, it's kind of a big broad V, and that kind of channels all of the water up through it so it can pick out all of the styrofoam, cups, paper, and garbage like that. When you think about it, it's really brilliant because of its simplicity. And there you can see the V shape that I was alluding to earlier. I'm going to cast up in here in this. Now, if you remember those ponds I showed you flowed, hang on.
Flow into that man-made creek that I showed you, which eventually ends up here in Eslava Creek. And as we've studied before, Eslava will eventually end up at Dog River, and then Dog River empties into Mobile Bay, which is one of the most important fisheries in the entire United States of America. Most Gulf shrimp begin their life in Mobile Bay. And this country loves Gulf shrimp because they're some of the best shrimp in the world. So keeping this creek clean helps provide Gulf shrimp to people all over the country. That's why I'm glad they've got all these protections put in to help clean stuff out like that, 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 before it gets into the estuary. Man, just a couple of miles separate, I went from pretty much stagnant water, ponds with a little bit of flow, to a briskly flowing creek that is tidally controlled, by the way. Wind isn't the only thing that makes this creek flow. The other thing is the tides. And looking at the water, I would say that the tide is coming in, because the bay is that way and the water's going that way. Now, as you look up that way, that's Eslava Creek that we've been in all day. Here's where it dumps in and becomes Dog River. As you can see, This is a show enough river. And Dog River goes on down, turns there to the left, and heads on out to Mobile Bay. And that's why those retention ponds all the way back there at the shopping center are so important. All of that crud that you saw in those ponds would be in this river if it wasn't for those ponds and then some of these creek cleaning systems like the one that I showed you just a little bit ago.
Hey, there we go. What do we got? Ooh, beautiful redbreast. Look at that.
So I'm at Perch Creek, which is a tributary to Dog River, Mobile Bay. And who do I see but Mr. Alligator. He ain't the biggest alligator in the world, but at the same time, I do not want a hug.
After a long day of shooting, it's no surprise that my GoPro batteries are exhausted. So I pull out my cell phone to shoot some YouTube shorts, and of course that's when all the excitement happened. Check it out.
That's Mr. Gator right there. That's him. That's him. Right there. He's about 12 feet from me. About 4.5 feet long. Man, you know how hard it is to work a phone and rod and reel at the same time? There you go. Let's take a look. First one on a Ned rig. Full of babies. Let me get her back in. All right, this is Dog River here, where it goes under Dolphin Island Parkway. And this is the mouth of the river right here. That is Mobile Bay. As you saw, all of this started in a stormwater retention pond in a Costco parking lot. Oh, look, there's a loon. So this is where we ultimately end up. Dog River empties into this. Mobile Bay. And just a little ways down that way, it's the Gulf of Mexico.
This here's the part where the talking dog asks you to click the like and subscribe button. Everybody loves that.